and being killed, and seeing the child sucking from its mother when it's dead, I was devastated. I could not pick her up. I wanted to, but I was so afraid to run around with this baby. And yeah, I just passed her and went and hid in the one of the house. You could hear outside, the noise and people running. Oh, find that. There are Tutsi, a Tutsi is passing. So people will be shouting because they saw someone. When it became about evening, I walked back to my place, and I went and hide in my, what I call the safe place, because it was a pit latrine, which is a toilet with a hole that was completely full and no one was using, and I went back and sat there. And behind that pit latrine there used to be a football field, and you will hear these Hutus sitting there. They're drinking, they had alcohol, and they were talking about how many Tutsis they have killed. Oh, we killed so and so. Oh, we raped so and so. And sitting there, I knew that if they see me, they will come and kill me. I was hiding in the bush, and people, Hutu, the killers, were running around saying, come out with the dogs." I did say they were with the dogs. The bodies of people um, being fed to these dogs, and dog eating them, and sitting, being frightened, knowing that if they see me, they will, bite me. I think I was not, I was so terrified. When I ran from that bush, I just ran, I will say like maybe 100 meters, and then I reached to the road. When I hear they're making noise and the dog running next to me, so I ran away and I fell into the road, and they saw me, said, come, come. So someone just came and beat me with the big stick they had. Those sticks were kind of big on the top, and they had nails on. I just fell into the hands of those people that waiting to be killing us. And they had, they will say, if you had money and you will give to them, they will kill you by shooting you. If you didn't, they will cut your head off. Some people, they will say, oh, I will give you this, forgive me, but they didn't even have that mercy to forgive. So they chopped people's head off in front of me and throw them in that big hole that was there. I was numb. I saw many people killed. I knew it was me next to be killed. So I wasn't really worried. I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be killed. I was just like, yeah, that's what is happening. And it was only when there were two people ahead of me um, that someone shouted. I don't even remember who. I just heard the voice. They said the bank in Kigali is being broken in. They're robbing the bank. So all the killers around us, the attention was not on the people they are killing. They wanted to go and get money. I survived that day because of greedy of people. So they ran away to get money, and I ran off to the bush again and stayed there.
How long were you in the bush for?
So I was in the bush as much as 3 months. It was either in the church, which we were being killed, and I was hiding among the dead bodies. It was either in the pit latrine, I was by myself, I was in the field by myself, or I was on the queue to be killed. So those 3 months has been the longest horror nightmare that I have like I feel like it lasted for it.
Okay, so now there's another one. It's another one. She's in the same. There she is. Now hers is child sacrifice.
There was a witch doctor who had laid this child down, put herbs all around her body, and was about to cut her before the security guard found her and rescued her and brought her to this baby's home where I was working.
Okay, so she survived from child trafficking in Africa, where the same woman is at, but not in the same country. I mean, same. Oh yeah, she's in Uganda. Okay.
I knew quite early on that I wanted to work in television. I wanted to be a video editor. I realised that in my teens, and I've put everything I possibly could into making that happen. I've worked on Love Island, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, Strictly Come Dancing, X Factor, The Voice, Made in Chelsea, what else? Too Hot to Handle, and Four in a Bed. An NGO in Uganda that looked after abandoned babies. Periodically she needed media volunteers to go over and make films for change, and I just thought, yeah, why not? So I got in touch with her, and the next thing I knew, like 2 months later, I found myself on a plane to Kampala, Uganda.
So Uganda.
Kampala can seem really kind of glitzy and cosmopolitan and fun, but you scratch the surface and there is a lot of sadness there, and a lot of that comes from poverty. One of the NGO representatives was telling me about some of the children in the baby's home where I'd be working, and she told me about this little girl who had survived child sacrifice, and I was like, what? You know, I'm part Nigerian, you know, so I've heard about witchcraft and juju and witch doctors, and you know, my grandfather was a traditional healer, so I've grown up hearing about the occult, but never had I heard of child sacrifice. The very first day I saw her out, and she was a shadow. She would cower in the corner of the room, not look at anybody, visibly scarred and just truly traumatized. She was found on a construction site by a security guard. There was a witch doctor who had laid this child down, put herbs all around her body, and was about to cut her before the security guard found her and rescued her and brought her to this baby's home where I was working. And she'd been there about 6 months before I arrived. She's really special to me, yeah. So I'd heard about this practice, then met this girl, fallen head over heels in love with her, and researched. I wanted to know what there was to know about it. So I read articles, I spoke to people, I spoke to locals, and very quickly recognised that this was a real problem. This was prevalent in Uganda, and there was always somebody who knew someone who had their child sacrificed, or you know, it was very much a taboo subject, but people were aware of it happening.
Why do people do child sacrifices in Uganda? What is the reason for that?
There is a widespread belief in not just Uganda that when you sacrifice a child, it will lead to riches, to prosperity, power. So people will visit a witch doctor with an issue, and depending on what the issue is, the witch doctor will say, okay, you go and bring me the head of a child, you go and bring me the genitals of a boy, you go and bring me the tongue of a girl, and you'll have what you need.
You spoke to other survivors. Can you give us another survivor story?
So there was one boy who uncle to go and buy some soap.
Okay. So let me just end this because I don't want to. Okay. So here's the thing here. Here's the thing here. This is what we have to understand that this is in Uganda. Okay. So if it's child sacrifices, and they say, oh well, the witch doctor says to go get this, and it's all about poverty. So it's all about poverty then. So what if people didn't have poverty? What if poverty didn't exist? Then what? Then what? Well, if you don't have poverty, then the only thing you would be left with is psychological problems. Because everybody would be judged by the base of their character, by what they believe in, right? Because you have everything, and you're on the same level of everybody. So how could a child be sacrificed based off of, I'm poor. Okay, well, in order for you to be rich, you have to sacrifice a child. Well, who created poverty for you to even ask for help like that? What if you had everything you ever wanted? Who created poverty? The government. The governments create poverty. Because how come the government allows this to happen when they know what the cure is? You have to give every single person their land and their resources, and you have to make sure their house is with clean running water. Make sure everybody have a house. Make sure there's food and running water in that house. Make sure you are fed and you are taken care of. And then see if somebody would go to a witch doctor and say, oh, I have a problem with this and that. Whatever problems you would have, it would be psychological. The only problem you would have is either domestic violence and you have an issue with women, or you just have an issue with people. And that's how we can determine whether you should stay on this planet or not, on this earth or not. Because if you have a problem and you're still, and everybody have everything, you have everything you ever desired, and you still have a problem with, you still want to kill some people, well then that's how we can see who's who. Because right now it just looks like the government is guilty of allowing genocide to happen in these countries because they allow poverty to exist. That's what it really boils down to. The UN allows poverty to exist, to where where a person who needs food, water, and money would do just about anything. And so why don't we just create the promised land to where people who don't want to live in this hellish society can just basically cross over. You still have this hellish society, but you'll have a choice to either you want to live in this hellish society or cross over. And that's what my thing is. That's what I create. I create the promised land for people to never go through what this person have seen or went through. You'll never have to worry about genocide or guns or shooting or any type of maliceness, because you're in the promised land, and there is no room or no time to be killing nobody, be thinking about murder, and you have everything you ever desire. So what is the problem? What's the problem? The problem is that there are some people who are not human. That's it. That's the problem. Some people are not human, and even if and the ones who the government is rich. The government is rich. Then that means that if the government creates the situation to where everybody needs money because they created poverty, then the government is not human. Because the government is rich, and yet they feed off the energy of our misery. So if you create the problem and yet you're still rich, then that means that you're not human. The government is not human. And that's why I had to write that letter to the UN to let them know that, okay, well, if you don't get back with me in 60 days, I mean, we already know that, we already know what's up, but damn. You allowed all of this sacrificing of children and genocide to go on in a country you're supposed to protect. Or at least you see, and that's the thing. The UN says that we protect people women from genocide. We protect. This is what the UN says. Go on the website. Go on. on the website. That's what the first thing we protect, really. Well, how come for many, many years, for thousands and not thousands, since the time the UN even formed itself, why is it that everybody getting genocided out when the UN and the United States government is? How come when the United States government and the United States come into a country, the indigenous people get murdered? See, that's what people need to understand. How come the UN and the United States have people in impoverished communities, and none of the government is indigenous to those areas that they're supposed to protect? The government is not indigenous, but yet they're supposed to protect. That means that you were never protecting. You were never protecting. You were only feeding off of our misery. Feeding. And what color is the government? White, Chinese, Arab, other than Africa and other than indigenous black people, other than that. And that's the problem. That's the problem. Because there now, does the government have a have yeah, the government, the African people have their own state governments. The African people who allow another I guess policing kill another tribe, well, it's the fault of those African people that allow those police officers to kill another tribe. That's your fault. You need to get rid of those people, those men that decide whether who lives or dies. If a police department is killing another tribe, then that police department must be contained because they're all insane. That's just, I mean, that's common sense, Ray. Well, is it? It is common sense. I mean, the woman that just described, she said that her father had put the children on extra clothing because they're gonna have to run outside and escape. He could not save his own children from murder. What kind of world is that? What government do you have? Then that means then it's every man for himself, and that means you don't need a government, because with a government because your government is your enemy. That means each and every person would have to just pack, yeah, they would have to pack weapons, and they would have to fend off whoever would come against them, and it would be the government. So they would actually have to take out the police and the army, because it's the government that hires the police and the army to go out and kill tribes. So it's actually the UN, and it's actually the United States government that's actually being judged. They're absolutely being judged, because what were you doing this whole time? What were you doing? See, because you're the one that had paid for all the propaganda and all of the murders to happen, or they wouldn't have happened if you're the government. If I had a government, there's no way that a tribe would be genocided out. One person that died, you just got to give me the phone call. Who died? What? We going straight over there. We want to know who cut off this woman's head. Oh, well, the police did that. Oh, for real? Well, then there will be no more of that police department. Every single police department right there that believes that that woman should have died that way or whatever, have to go. Yeah, and not only that, but you got to make sure that nobody gives birth to those type of men ever, ever, ever. You got to go to that person's mother and be like, just make sure you don't have no more kids like this. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to give you a hysterectomy because you can't have kids, because we don't want you to give birth to nothing like that. You know, where's the husband that where is the man and the woman that gave birth to this man that decided to kill this woman because he just felt like it? Okay, well, we got to give the hysterectomy to the man and the woman so they just won't be procreating. And it has to be publicly known in Africa that you cannot procreate with something that can give birth to something like that. You can't do that. You can't. And people have to understand that some certain people are not human. They're monsters. And if you're a woman, man, giving birth to monsters, you have to have a hysterectomy or some shit. You just can't have kids. Just some people just can't have kids. Because, you know, People have, because we're trying to get to the promised land. We're trying to create the promised land. We're not trying to die in this motherfucker. We're trying to live. And if there are monsters who look like humans but are not, we need to know who that is. We need to literally pinpoint exactly who's a monster and who's not. And this is a message to the UN. So if this is a part 3, it's to you, UN, that I wrote you this letter. You're gonna see my videos because I let you know to look at my YouTube channel. That it's to you. You know what I'm saying. And if I get a copyright strike on this, then all of these videos will be on my Patreon. It's gonna be on the Rumble and Patreon channel anyway, because I showed that video, and so it just might happen. So okay, I'm gonna go ahead and end this, but I just wanted to just show that. Okay. Okay, so there will be some more, of course, updates on the result of that email that I sent. So I'll be giving updates. Okay, so thank you so much for everyone who donated 3 days ago, and it was only one person, and that was yes, somebody just donated $33. Thank you so much, and that was it's on my phone here. Dang. Okay, so it was $33. Thank you so much for your donation that you donated to me yesterday. Thank you so much. So one person donated yesterday, and then the day before that, it was Johnson who donated the $100. So 2 people. Thank you so much. Thank you, and thank you for everybody that just likes to watch my videos because it's interesting. I thank you for watching. Okay, so I'm gonna update everyone on the progress on the UN because they're all guilty. Every last one of them. Okay, and so we know this because this is judgment. Okay, this is when you get to the in order to get to the promised land, there has to be judgment. There has to be law and order. You just can't have everybody in the promised land. So I'm just making these videos to show you of who won't be getting into the promised land and who will. You know what I mean? That woman that described her horror, she'll be going into the promised land and her people, because we want to, and the promised land will be in her country. It'll be in Israel, it'll be in Egypt, it'll be, so we can travel and see. And that's what I sent to the UN, is that we have to travel to see, to make sure everybody's okay, because we can't have you running this world, or we'll just continue to have genocide. But if everybody, all Americans and all of the people from other countries who understand, we all just travel and we just, and we know what's up, and we're on the same page, on both same page of how to survive. We stay in the promised land. We travel from different promised land, and no one who is evil can come in. The gates will be shut, and you can't be evil coming into the promised land. And so this is why the videos is good to, and everything is coming out. It's being exposed, and this is very important that it's being exposed, that people are being exposed, because you got to know who's who. You just can't have everybody in there, and you literally have to know, seriously, you got to know what man would be okay with killing a woman and her child just because he just don't like her. He don't like her tribe. That's the kind of man you have to focus on. You got to make sure that his mother can't give birth to no other man like that ever. You understand? So you got to look at the man who acts like that, and then the woman who births out people like that. You got to get a hysterectomy on that bitch quick, because you don't. And then it's funny how the women who birth out these men, they'll still protect them. Like, oh, ain't nothing wrong with my son. It's like, see, yeah, but thank God everything is being exposed. Well, yeah, thank me. Thank people like me, like her, and other people like her, that is exposing, so we can see this. And so we can say, okay, great. I'm the creator of the promised land, and we're going to have this promised land like this. Everybody's going to go to the promised land. However, the monsters, you stay outside. And if we see that you're a monster, you're going to be taken out. Because we don't want you procreating. We don't want you giving birth and this other monsters that's going to kill us in the future. I don't think so. We have to weed people out. And this is what's going on, right? That's why 7 billion people have to go. Because they're being weeded out. 7 billion people have to go. And that's what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to end this. And I'll talk to you guys later. I'm going to go ahead and load this up. And probably in the next 2 days, I'll make some other videos. Oh, and then, of course, I'm always making my Voom Vooms. So you have to watch the Voom Vooms. In fact, I'll make the Voom Vooms and upload 2 more Voom Vooms tonight. Okay. Well, it'll be on my Patreon. You have to see, in order for you to see the depopulation, you have to go to my Patreon and my Rumble, which nobody went to my Rumble or my Patreon lately at all. Okay, so I'm gonna upload some more stuff on the Patreon so you can see who. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Remember the Ooh. Remember the Bass Reeves in Oklahoma? Like they're okay. The black senators in Oklahoma, they are Bass Reeves. Well, the senator in Oklahoma, those are the Bass Reeves crew. Okay, right? Very evil people in Oklahoma. They're the ones that removed us from our lands. Okay. Well, they're holding that oath. Well, anyway, the senator is now forcing all of their military and police officers to take the boom booms, and they have to take 3 to take them down to the Delta variant. Because remember now, the variant is for them to go down where the Loki is at. And that's where Cain said, ooh, you think I'm evil. Wait till you meet my variants, right? And I got a comment on there too. So you wait till you see my variants. So so when they take the variant, they're going down where Loki is at. And go watch the TV series Loki on Disney Channel, episode 6, the last episode, and you'll see exactly where they're going. So the senator in Oklahoma, who is Bass Reeves people, they're all forced to take the shot now. Yes. Yes. See, you see how karma works? See, so everything is being exposed, and we're seeing how they're dying. Okay. Well, I'm gonna get up this video and I'm gonna upload this right now. Okay.